Yeah, bonjour. So I'm going to start. I'm Alan Dix. I'm Director of Computational Foundry, and Matt's told you plenty about that, so I won't tell you any more. And then Philippe will come on a bit later. And so we're talking about this specific project, and I'm going to try and sort of link it perhaps to some of the bigger issues, and then Philippe will sort of dig in real detail. So I'm going to say, first of all, I am not an agri-tech expert. My first job was actually in agri-tech, but so I had to falter and grab a few figures. So there we are, agri-food sector worth 100 billion, tell you how important agriculture is. In France, 65 billion euros for agriculture alone. So big numbers, but you always see these big numbers, everybody puts those up. Actually, the reason that agriculture is important is not because of those big numbers. In COVID, we struck it lucky. It may not seem it, we struck it lucky with COVID. It could have been so much worse. And one of the worries was food resilience, that without the transport across the world, we would struggle without local food. So food is really important, resilience. Also for climate change, food is going to be one of the frontline issues as the ability to grow things changes around the world, as well as the challenges on that. However, perhaps even more important, agriculture is central often to the social and cultural lives of large parts of certainly of Europe and of the world. I used to live on a little Scottish island, and there I think 40% of people wrote down crofting, which is small farming, as their principal job. Now, I actually knew that that was a tiny proportion of the income of the island, and most of those people had other jobs as well, but they saw themselves, and the island saw itself as an agricultural place. So it's part of our imagination, if we are. In Wales, what would Wales be without the sheep? And perhaps what would France be without the wine? Agriculture has been increasingly automated. When I first started working in these kind of areas, people put things on on their udders with sheep. Now robots put them on. A lot of automation going on. There's an easy route to AI into agriculture, which is you take your massive combine harvester like this. You get your drones out. You get lots of sensor information. You throw it into a big AI. We know we can do this with machine learning. Get lots and lots of big data together. Send lots of information, precision farming, lots of stuff. That's easy AI. When my first job was the National Institute of Agricultural Engineering, which has closed now, sadly, part of the loss of research income into agriculture, very crucial, actually. That's been a problem over the years. But one of the sadnesses I found when I was working in this sector, in the government-paid research in this sector, was that the vast majority of what we did was just far too expensive for anything but a £500,000 combine harvester like the one you're seeing there. Now, what part of it? So there are issues here. There's issues for social justice, but also, actually, if you think about all of that AI, we know that's also being increasingly problematic. So what about smaller farms? But we can also think about this in terms of smaller industries. One of the reasons for the focus on large-scale technology was the assumption that was the most profitable and economic part of it. And sure enough, if you measure by profits per acre, big farms do better. But certainly back then, I haven't seen the figures more recently, but if you look at productivity as in food per acre or per hectare, much higher on smaller farms. If you look at employment per hectare, then suddenly small farms just wipe everything else out of them. So there are differences if we look at what do we care about. Do we care about profit or do we care about people? The trouble is smaller farms is also true of smaller industry, means you have to run your II on low cost equipment, small runtime footprint, or you might have a larger development footprint, and ease of deployment. Access to technology is the issue. I was one of the early workers in looking at gender and ethnic bias in AI algorithms, but the biggest bias is about who can access them. So if we want to deal with smaller actors, we need a much cleverer AI. It's simple to do, big, high-cost AI. It's much harder, but perhaps more important. Now, that's a problem because it's more difficult, but it's also an opportunity because the big actors, the Googles, the Microsofts in this world will be attracting the big issues. the opportunity for universities and research and for small companies and small innovators, actually the opportunities here are far, far greater. I'll hand over to Philippe now.
Yes, thank you, Alan. All dear colleagues, good morning. And in fact, I'm going to speak about a big project we have, I think back, a small project we had with a small company, and I think we are completely aligned in our minds with what Matt said this morning. And this project was born through the partnership based on Grenoble and Swansea University partnerships. And since 4 years, I've also contributed to build a partnership built on innovation subject with Alan and a lot of colleagues in Swansea, and innovation colleagues and also research colleagues. So thanks to all of these colleagues. So this project, we decided to go directly through a real project with a small company. In fact, I had built a common lab with this small company, which is called saint-etienne. And what you see on the screen is the vehicle they develop. And you will see that this company does not only develop a vehicle. In fact, they don't really, they sell a vehicle, but in fact, they sell a lot of other things. Next. Yeah. So the global context is what Alan explained to you, is working in small farms. So you see a small farm with several districts for several crops types. You can have salad, carrots, etc. in a small area. You also have greenhouses in this area. You have paths, and you have the farm, and you have this vehicle in the middle of it going through the fields, and you have the people on the small person on the left. And all these actors are working together in the small area of the farm. And the question is to develop adaptive technology to help people working in this farm. So on the photo, you have the vehicle on the field. It was a salad field here. I will explain in detail after for the technology. So the main objective is working in small farms for market gardening, for example, producing vegetables and small fruits. The main objective of the project and of this company, in fact, is the reduction of work physical pain. In fact, it's a global major aspect that they want to achieve. So they developed this vehicle, companion vehicles. It's not a robot. It's not a robot. It's a cobot. You can be on the vehicle, but it can drive on itself. But you can also drive it not sit on the chairs, but working on the floor, and the vehicle pilots itself. So it's a low-cost vehicle. It's an electrical vehicle. It will be soon using sun energy, and it's dedicated to mainly organic and traditional agriculture. So small surfaces. So the main challenges we have in this project is human interaction and autonomy. In fact, there is a major question on precision, lateral precision, which must be less than 1 centimeter. I will show you some cases after. We have the case of low consumption because the vehicle is using small batteries and solar energy. So as Alan explained, we do not use massive calculations. We do not use the cloud. All is included on the vehicle and in the farm. And so technologies might be entirely embedded. So embedded software, embedded technology, small technology, low-cost technology, and no cloud, I said. So I will give the example of two technologies we have developed with this company. This first technology has been developed entirely by Swansea colleagues, particularly Juicy Fan and also Dune MacDonald, and also with Alan and other colleagues, and thanks to all of them. And the question here is human vehicle interaction and how the vehicle interacts with the people working around in the field. So the people can work on the vehicle, they can work around the vehicle in the farm, interact with the vehicle in the field and in the farm. And there is a major question around this is security. Also control, in fact, because you can control the vehicle with the voice, but the major question is security. But because even the vehicle is not driving fast, it's a few kilometers per hour. It's 300 kilos vehicle, so it can be it can provide a lot of damage to humans if it drives through humans. Swansea colleagues have developed an audio feedback for the vehicle. This system, you see the photo of this system, it's around 10 centimeters wide, and it can be put on the vehicle directly, and it produces sound interaction with the people working around, and each type of sound is corresponds to a specific message. So the comprehension by the people working around is very fast. The second technology we have developed, and is still we still develop technologies around this. It has been developed more specifically in INRIA and University Grenoble University research team, which was called Pervasive, and also by an engineer group I manage, which is called Innovation Factory. So the problem is to guide the vehicle with a very high precision, less than 1 centimeter, lateral precision, less than 1 centimeter in the fields. Here you have the case of salad field. So they grow salads. They don't grow very high, these salads. So they are, the crops are very close from each other. In fact, you have 5 centimeters between each line of salads. And the challenge was to guide the vehicle on these salad lines. So typically here we are using artificial intelligence based on the image which are taken real time by the camera. On the image on the left, you see the very small camera which is close to the soil, and at the right you see the image of the camera, and on the right bottom right you see the tool which is used by the Tutilo vehicle to scratch the earth to remove weeds. So I joined Matt and Eric that we really want to continue developing innovation programs together. I heard this morning a colleague speaking also around startups in Wales, and I was very interested with that because the startups is a major subject in Grenoble also. So I think we have a lot of job to do on this. We have also the joint center, research center on AI, and I think we are completely aligned on what we want to do, dedicated to human and to what human can benefit from all these technologies. Thank you.